Welcome to Coffee and Espresso. Now, the types of end users that need filtration for coffee are retailers, where all they do is operate stores, coffee shops, and then you have the roaster retailer who roasts their own beans and sells them in their stores, and they operate their own stores. Then there's the retailer, roaster, wholesaler who do all of the above and sell their coffee wholesale as well. Store locations, upscale cafes. Coffee at the center of the customer experience is what drives these locations. Coffee is a culinary experience, not just that get up and go in the morning. And it's often served with pastry and other foods that pair well with coffee. And what are their business objectives? Like La Colombe, we believe America deserves a better cup of coffee. That's product quality statement there. And coffee is an elevated culinary experience, sort of the way wine is, to elevate that beverage to a fine dining experience. Intelligentsia, develop the coffees while working alongside farmers we work with to grow our coffee. So they're helping bring the farmers and have them share in the riches of where coffee has grown to in the United States and worldwide. We want a great coffee to be revered, yet democratic in sharing the benefits of that elevated culinary experience and make it approachable and accessible to everyone. And then there's Stumptown, whose goal is coffee is about pleasure, that experience of the coffee in that environment that they provide. And that's a high-quality coffee statement as well. Remember, water is a universal solvent. Well, what does that mean? Again, water dissolves nearly everything it comes in contact with. If you leave it in contact with something long enough, it will dissolve a little bit of it. It also has a limit to what it can hold of specific things. So coffee is about a balance of this, because coffee brewing is a chemical extraction of the flavor components of a coffee bean that require a certain range so that only the desirable things and the amounts of those desirable things come out of the bean. So coffee is the center of focus for these operators. So there's many types of coffee. Just like there's many types of grapes and wine, there are single origin coffees from a specific growing region of the world. And then there's the way they can roast those beans. All the different roasts, as you can see here, they have 7 of these, and there's variations in between, depending on where those coffees come from in the world, to produce different flavor qualities out of the same bean. And then there's a blending of these different roasts or different origin beans to produce a blended coffee, kind of the way wines are blended to produce a blended variety so they can provide a consistent product year after year. See, the ideal coffee quality showing mineral content dissolved solids of the brewed beverage versus the extraction of the ground. So basically, this is the SCAA standard for water coffee in a chart form, and it's about the balance between the amount of coffee you use to make a cup or pot of coffee to the mineral content and the amount of water you have to pass over that content. So we can see here on this chart, water with high TDS ends up being in this category. If there's not enough coffee grounds to be attached with, you get a weak, undeveloped coffee. But if you're using the right amount of grounds, you still get a weak cup of coffee. But when you use too much coffee, it ends up being weak and bitter. No good experience there. And then when we have water with too low a TDS with not enough grounds, we get a strong, underdeveloped cup of coffee. It doesn't have a full body to it, but it's strong in caffeine. And then when you have the right amount of grounds, you get a really strong cup of coffee. But when you get where you have too much coffee in contact with that low TDS water, you get a very strong, bitter cup. coffee brewing is all about the ideal water quality with the ideal contact time with the coffee bean itself, the ground coffee bean. And when we have the ideal water quality and we use too few coffee beans or grounds, you get an underdeveloped coffee. It doesn't have that full body flavor or character you want, but it's the right extraction point. Well, ideally, you get that optimum balance between the bitter and the sweet notes and all the balanced flavors that can come out of a coffee bean. When we use too much coffee in the ideal water quality, we just get a bitter cup of coffee. So we're shooting for this optimal balance between the amount of coffee used and the water quality going in it to extract the right chemicals we want from that bean for flavor. Roles you will deal with, the owner-operator. Typically where you find them is operations under 20 stores. What do they care about? Ensuring smooth operation of their facility, maximizing product quality, finding new customers, and perception of their brand, and along with environmental issues surrounding the production and sustainability of coffee. And what are their challenges? Varying water quality from place to place and being able to balance that coffee quality with equipment performance and minimizing the cost of operations associated with that. Because the balanced mineral blend that goes into producing good coffee will also have some scale control issues associated with it because of the hardness that we need in that water. So where do they shop? Espresso distributors and E&S dealers like ice products, ice makers. How do we appeal to them? By being able to help provide them with consistent water quality, which will equal consistent product quality, and optimize downtime and minimize maintenance costs if they have a fleet of stores. So where is the market on its water journey? Food service operator water customer journey. Many specialty coffee operators are already well versed in water quality and the impact on their product and operation. Many understand TDS hardness, calcium, etc., and their impact on the beverage, but they may not understand the impact and how these all work together and balance out. So they need to realize the water's impacted, link it to the water to a business problem, research the potential solutions, make a purchase decision, and install and evaluate is how they go about selecting and understanding proper water filtration. So we have specifications for the SCA water spec, which is where we want these parameters to fall for an acceptable range and then the ideal range for coffee brewing. So why water quality matters to them? Product quality. Getting in this an ideal range allows them to be efficient with the amount of coffee they use, yet offer the best product they can produce in that water quality. And then there's operational efficiency. Scale buildup equals downtime, damaged equipment, and expense. Corrosion in these units equals downtime and expense and expensive parts replacement. If they aren't brewing coffee and doing that efficiently, they are not going to be maximizing profit. If you notice, this brewer is filling up with scale. Well, that scale occupies water volume. If you don't have the correct water available, as we see from here, if we don't pass enough water over, you get a short pot and stronger coffee and less efficient coffee. You may lose a cup or two, so that's subtracted right off the bottom line when you lose that brewing capacity. So how do we appeal to them? Business support. We remove the complexity of water quality and knowledge. We're the experts. And we remove that uncertainty in what filtration to pick because we're customizing that based on the water quality at that location. And ensure ongoing support, both planned and reactive, through service providers and ISP networks. Product quality. By right-sizing filtration offering to the water quality characteristics, giving them what they need to get the water to where they need it to be. Not too much, not too little, right where they need it to be to meet their PM schedules and maintain their equipment and produce the quality product they need, and to ensure the optimal water quality is used to brew the best quality coffee. and operational efficiency, ensuring costs are under control, minimize repair and maintenance expenses, and maximize uptime, and reduce expense associated with filtration by streamlining it and not oversizing it or not undersizing it or not overspecifying it, using the right tool for the water at that location. Products and value proposition. We have our pre-coat and Fiberdyne technologies here. You have the BH2, which is where mineral contents within specification and municipalities providing disinfection, municipal water, remove off taste and ensure equipment protection through scale management with phosphates to minimize hard scale deposits. The pre-coat technology, half micron NSF, up to 3,000 gallons. Then you have the FC-S family, FC for Fiberdyne carbon filter, and S for scale control. And this is for the same municipal water supply with mineral content within ranges, but for high capacity and higher flow rate performance situations. Same half micron NSF certification up to 15,000 gallons of service out of a single 4FC-S. And then you have the Clarus Ultra and Clarus series. It's for water that has TDS and calcium and alkalinity levels above where we wish those levels to be for coffee brewing. This allows for a tailored blend of water based on the incoming water supply at that location to be fed to the equipment to meet those specifications. It's 5-stage processing, including weak acid cation exchange resin, that also allows us to decrease the alkalinity, getting both the hardness and the alkalinity and TDS into those ranges to meet SCAA specs. And then for where either water volume being used, or overall TDS is too high to manage with a Clarus product, we're going to apply a blended RO series of products, whether it's high efficiency or our standard efficiency BL series, is to get those elevated dissolved minerals down low enough to provide a blend into optimal coffee brewing ranges. It's for operators looking for recipe quality control and mineral reduction of contaminants at high efficiency. Very green product, also for higher volume locations. The BL series is for operators looking for recipe quality water control and reduction of mineral contaminants, not as efficient, and lower volume applications as well. High efficiency output in the MRS 600 series, 600 gallons a day of permeate, and up to 1,000+ gallons a day blended water, depending on the water quality incoming to the unit. And then the BL is 350 gallons per day of pretreatment, and you're looking upwards of a potential 500 gallons a day in blended water, depending on the incoming quantity and how much blend is used. Both of these systems require an additional storage tank for high volume needs. In the case of the HE1, the onboard tank may suffice for a smaller coffee operation. Overcoming objections to general filtration. My coffee tastes fine. Well, water quality changes throughout the year, especially if you're dealing with a surface water source, and changes in chlorine levels and the water source itself may impact taste now, but filtration ensures that it remains consistent. You also may have municipalities that switch from a surface water source to a well water source, and seasonally this can greatly impact product quality and operation. Well, I don't pay for my coffee brewer. It comes with my coffee. Well, does your coffee company test the water and ensure your coffee tastes great? Do they test the water to make sure your coffee brewers are going to stay up and functioning and have little downtime? It gives your customers a better tasting product and a consistent product and increase in sales. So overcoming common objections to RO. Well, why do I need this big tank? Well, RO is great at creating high quality water, but it makes it slowly. So you have two options: a really big expensive RO that can handle your peak demand, or a smaller overall system smaller RO in a storage tank that can handle that peak demand without having to have such a large system to make up that water. Oh, RO is so expensive, I don't want to pay for it. Well, when you're dealing with water that requires RO for good coffee production, it's also needed for equipment protection. So if you have poor water quality, you can invest in equipment protection and high-quality coffee up front, or you can pay for maintenance repairs and lost sales due to downtime or poor product quality afterwards. So water treatment is always a pay me now or pay me later proposition. You either manage your problems up front or you end up paying for the lack of that management on the backside. If RO is needed for mineral control for product quality, no other technology will allow you to control minerals like RO. And if you want specific recipe control, including blending, RO is the way to go because it allows a customer to fine-tune that water even seasonally if they know they have changes in their water system. So it really gives that coffee aficionado the ability to fine-tune that water even for the blend of coffee or roast of coffee they are producing, or whether it's drip coffee versus espresso. They're able to dial in that quality for that specific need for that specific brewing process.